This is a disclaimer. This podcast features 4 professional idiots who share their insights and anecdotes. This podcast is intended for entertainment purposes only. This podcast represents the opinions of the guests and should not be taken as medical, legal, or professional advice.
Like right now it says on this thing, it says, DKC and Alex K have joined. Where?
Right. Oh, is it because it's because we haven't talked yet?
You haven't spoken words. Patrick, speak.
Speak, friend, and enter. Can you hear me?
There it is.
There we go.
I thought you didn't hear me say "fuck you."
No, I heard that. It just wasn't recording
got
yet.
Turned on.
Yeah.
You sharp
Fuck
one.
Craig
You
bot.
smart. Oh man, this has been the best and worst part of my life. Craig bot.
Craig bot giving you handies afterwards. Is that why it's the best part of your life?
No, because it's the only thing that's worked so far, but it decides not to sometimes.
Temperamental beast.
Oh, Craig. How are you guys doing? Good.
Everybody talk at once.
Everybody's. I will address you individually. Alex, how'd the bar go?
Well, from what I've heard from everybody, the standard is that almost everybody feels like they failed it when they walk out the door. And
Is that how you feel?
mostly, yeah. I mean, like, I feel good and bad about it. Like, there are things I'm like, oh yeah, I know that I knew that. And then there are things where there was a question where I was like, I don't know that. I don't know. This is random chance now. Just the 25% chance of getting a question is fine.
Are they just like factoid questions? Or are they like ones where you're like, okay, it's either A or C?
A lot of the time most of the time you can narrow it down to like A or C. Like one of two options. The way to think of it is that it's the most niche, highly specific rulings about very specific like jurisdictional law that you're ever going to come across.
Where are the goalposts now? I always run into that situation where I'm like, it's either A or C, and I haven't had a C answer in a while, so we're gonna go with C.
That's the worst. That's the best worst logic.
I had 7 B's in a row on one section, and I was
you
certain
failed.
that I'd fucked it up. And I
You
was like,
fucking failed.
no, I went back. And I looked, and I'm like, no, none of the other answers make sense for any of these. Like, it can't be. It just is a chain of 7 B's. That's impossible. There's no way there's no way they did that, right?
Some sadistic test maker is doing this on purpose.
100%.
Oh yeah, they were fucking with me.
Welcome to Overqualified Idiots. Welcome back, listeners, and if you're tuning in for the first time for Season 2, Episode 4, this is a podcast where 4 professionals come together from various fields, pharmacy, medicine, law, engineering, to share our tales and shoot the breeze and generally hang out. I am Dan Casey, MD. I am a primary care sports specialist. I am joined, as always, by my brother, Pat Casey, Esquire, JD.
Hey.
It's a very muted.
A lot of honorifics at the end. Esquire, JD, brother.
Drop the ESQ
Brother.
and just keep the JD, okay? I had the Esquire thing. That went out a long time ago. Anybody who calls himself Esquire has that at the end of their name is a pretentious prick and shouldn't be talked to.
Tell me how you really feel. Shit. God. I like that you added brother at the end of the titles as an honorific, and I'm like, yep, that's the most successful thing he's done.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Made sure you stayed alive.
Well, apparently I made it very difficult. That's a good point. Anyways, my other 2 co-hosts joining that you've
Not
heard
related.
speak already are Bengineer, our resident rocket scientist.
Hello.
And Alex K, our other JD.
Hi everybody.
God, it's a muted.
This is
very low energy.
The shell of a man speaking to all of you.
Yeah, it's because you got done with the bar and you think like you failed, and now you've got to wait like 3 months to find out whether you did it. You have to take it again. I mean, it's.
I don't even get to relax in the meantime either. I actually have 2 more bar exams that I have to take because Maryland splits out their separate bar exam stuff actually as its own separate test.
Kind of backwater. Why?
And then also the patent bar. As discussed.
The patent bar I knew. I knew you had to take the patent bar.
Thankfully, the Maryland bar, supposedly, the way that it works is that like the multiple choice section for it, you can just brute force take as many times as you want, like in short succession until you get a passing number. The essay section is really the only part you really have to study for because it takes them a while to grade it. So you want to make sure you pass that the first time. But yeah.
Oh, random. Usually the essay section is the lenient part in our tests. It's just like, do you know English? And that's kind of it.
The lenient part of our test was the essay. It wasn't the essays. It was the multi-guess. That was the lenient part of it. Because like you said, there's usually only 2 answers that are even remotely correct. Well, if you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, I should have brought this up last episode, but gatekeeping, I meant to talk about this and just the flow of the conversation, I forgot. Step 2 is the second board exam, and I talked about step 1 being just the tough exam. Step 2 is basically just an English competency test. It's like we have a lot of foreign med students, foreign grads, or just rather foreigners studying in American medical programs in the Caribbean and what have you. Step 2 is literally just like, okay, can you do a patient interaction? Because half of it's a test, and the other half of it is just talking to, what are they called? They're basically just fake patients. And so if you don't speak English, you don't get to pass that test.
It's a straight up like verbal segment?
Yeah, no, you just you walk into a room, it's a fake patient with a made up complaint, and you write down what you think is going on, you build a differential, and you write a chart, you write a note on the said patient. Oh. So if you have any sort of difficulty with working with people or just don't speak English well, that's the only percentage of people I know of that fail that test.
Patient was a poor historian.
It's like your new favorite thing since
it is.
Since that episode that didn't record.
What episode are you talking about?
So Pat, Alex, we got to record that episode again whenever you guys are ready.
I think that one. I think that topic's just dead.
No, it was such a
different
good
people
episode.
other than Alex and I promise you.
I know it's
will be so boring for that now.
And this is like listeners gonna be tuning in on the fourth week of this coming out and just being like, man, they took a long break, and it's just like, no, we just had technical difficulties and lost 2 episodes in a row.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Craigbot. Anyways, so yeah. So that is my sort of segue into today's topic of basically Craigbot screwed us over several weeks in a row where we recorded and then it just stopped recording halfway through and didn't let us know. So we lost an entire episode. And then we started again. We recorded more or less the same episode, kind of free flow. It was fun. I felt like that was actually a really good topic. Never to be touched on again. It only recorded my audio and no one else's. So that episode is cursed and will never be done again because Craigbot screwed us over. And that is the episode today. How he got screwed.
Note that Craigbot is the bot on Discord
Software
we use to record currently. And that's because of this, that's likely changing soon. So
Yeah.
I like to imagine instead that Craig, like, I can imagine like the listener who thinks that Craig is just some guy with a boom mic who kept fucking up over and over and over again.
We just gotta.
I forgot to turn it on, guys.
First name Craig, last name Bot.
he's our sound guy who just zoned out.
We call him a bot because we don't think he's really a person. He's just kind of there.
He's just a bottom. Anyways, that's a different take.
Whoa, where are we going with that?
I mean, he is quiet and he just takes it in the audio section.
Takes the audio. Yeah. So anyways, how we got screwed. Craigbot screwed us over. And that is why I wanted to touch on this topic today. I feel like in training and just work and working with people, if you've ever dealt with people, then you've probably been in a bad situation. You've probably had to deal with awful people, or you've just gotten screwed over, whether it's in a work or school setting. And these are the stories I wanted to bring to the table. Everybody loves, misery loves company. Everybody loves to hear the plights of others. I figure I'd kick it off because when I was switching over from surgery to primary care, kind of the nail in the coffin for me, I talked about this before, was how I worked with this awful surgeon. Like, we were working late, multiple nights in a row, from getting there at 4 or 5 in the morning and being there till 7 p.m. because surgery always runs late in a major hospital. And he said something to the effect of, like, pissed off on the third day like this, saying something to the effect of, this will be the third night in a row I go home and don't see my kids before they go to bed. So that was the nail in the coffin. But the first 10 nails before that was when I was on basically it was trauma surgery, but they bounced us around to various ORs to see different cases and see different things. And one of the cases that I went to happened to be a patient with something called toxic megacolon. And basically,
excuse me?
Yeah, that's a real diagnosis. So it's a complication after. Have you guys heard of
Google this? Is there going to be like nasty things popping up? No?
Don't get ahead of me. All right. It's not pretty, but it's not going to be as bad as you think. So I scrub into this case. This woman is having her colon removed because she had complications after C. diff. C. diff is the bacteria that lives in your GI tract normally, but when you take antibiotics and you kill off the other healthy bacteria in your gut microbiota that really is very, very important, and we understand frighteningly little about our gut microbiota, C. diff comes out to play, and it can cause basically horrible C. diff, enteritis, and diarrhea, and bad things. In really bad cases, like patients who are immunocompromised, they get toxic megacolon, which is a life-threatening thing, so you basically have to have your colon taken out. So I scrub into this case. It's actually a really, really interesting case. These are things you learn about in textbooks and never see, or at least I wasn't expecting to. And halfway through the case, I realized my glove, and we're double gloved. There are 2 gloves on each hand, both ripped at some point.
Oh no.
And so I'm just covered in C. diff. Think back on this very, very, what is the opposite of fondly? Just horrifically. Washing my hands, I'm not exaggerating to the point my skin was raw because I was like, I cannot get sick. I cannot take time off. I'm still invested. I want to be a surgeon. I gotta be here. Well, 2 days later, I have to call out sick with fevers and horrible GI symptoms. I was sick for 1 day. I missed 1 day with like 102 or 103 degree fevers and going to the bathroom every 15 minutes. This carried on until the next day. I went into work sick. I still had symptoms. I wasn't febrile. And this was before COVID, when you basically, before people gave a shit about you being sick at work. And I basically went to work, and that wasn't my off day. I was supposed to go, it was a Saturday, I was supposed to work and called out sick. And I went in on Sunday, which was my off day. Fast forward, I forget, it's like a week later, they have this sort of mid-rotation check-in. And basically their feedback was, well, you've been gone a lot. You've missed a lot of time, so it's been hard to assess you. I missed 1 day that I made up the next day that I was supposed to have off. Anyways, just the way surgery is, the toxic nature and the toxic culture and the toxic megacolons. I got screwed over so badly. My reviews were average. I think it's just because a lot of the residents are so busy when they have to review medical students. It's just a chore, and everybody's average. Nobody's exceptional. So I was already in a rut because my surgery rotation that I needed to do well in, if I wanted to go into ortho, if I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon, was like average scores. I got so screwed over despite putting and I tried hard. I think anybody who really goes into rotations, especially early in their third year, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, you're ready to see cool stuff, you're ready to do and help with actual medicine, and you just get treated like a nuisance and treated like basically everyone dumps the crappy jobs on you. So that was how I got screwed over, as a quick segue, and why I'm not a surgeon and never will be.
I mean, honestly, that almost sounds normal. The new guy always gets the shit work kind of thing.
Yeah, I didn't expect to get the actual shit, though. I did not expect to. I still think about, I went to the urgent care the following day after that day that I went into work, and they gave me the antibiotics for C. diff, and they're like, I think this might just be strep throat. I'm like, bro, I had my hand inside someone's C. diff cavity. That's not just strep throat. God damn, I don't have a sore throat. I have fevers and awful things going down.
Euphemism. Their C. diff cavity.
Yeah. It's where you keep it.
Oh yeah. Everybody's got a secret C. diff cavity. They keep it in a hidden place where the sun don't shine.
Oh, that's good, Alex. Congrats, and also, are you okay? Because I know you just finished the bar.
Okay, I have taken the last few days off to just breathe for a little bit, which is fine. I'm going to be studying for the Maryland bar and then the patent bar, and then both of those are going to happen. And it's going to be a thing.
Man, you've been studying forever. I'm glad you got to take a break, though.
Yeah.
How long again? You told me this earlier. How long again until you actually find out the results?
So they said that the latest they'll get them to us by is like November 1st. So,
November? Wait, November?
Yeah. So like in 3 months.
In half a year? Wait, hold on. When am I?
Quarter of a year.
It's
Either
August.
way, though, like.
Okay, so it is 3 months. Never mind. Okay, I just. How are we already in August? What is going on? When am I?
I mean, I know how I lost track of time. I lost track of time because I was staring at doctrinal law bullshit for weeks and weeks.
You just lived in a cave reading.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, when I studied for STEP, I remember like those 2 months of studying just vanishing like before my eyes. And, like it was quote unquote time off, but it's just locked in a room going over questions and reading all day. So I blinked and it was over finally.
My how I got screwed story actually relates to the bar exam. And it's not merely that I had to take it, which, is every lawyer getting screwed over inherently. I strongly envy the handful of people that got what we affectionately call diploma privilege during COVID, which is that if you got your diploma, aka got your JD, you were just licensed to practice in the state that year for a lot of people.
Oh,
What?
sweet. That's awesome. But also kind of scary.
Here's the thing. I don't think that the bar exam actually tests any significant amounts of skill. I think that really the only thing that, from what I can tell, the bar maybe helps with is like you now have a broad enough idea of the law that if someone comes into your office and has a problem completely unrelated to what you normally do, you might at least remember enough to know that they have a problem you should tell them to go to a different attorney for.
You just described all primary care.
I mean, sure, but like it's just like not a skill set 99% of lawyers really like. I got enough from my classes to do that for the most part on a lot of topics, and I don't know that I needed it for all the things they made me learn. Like I never had a family law class. And I don't think I'm ever really going to need family law.
Pat, anything to weigh in on that?
Said the same thing when I graduated law school and took the bars. I didn't take family law. I'm never going to need it.
Yeah, you didn't need to take the class or study it. You just fucking practiced it and learned it.
I just learned it by trial and error.
Yeah.
Trial and error. I see what you did there.
All right. Pat, do you want to shoot Dan or should I do it for you?
That's fair. I deserve that.
No, yeah, absolutely. No, so the way I'm actually getting screwed is there's an Above the Law article, which is a news website that does a bunch of stuff related to just like law in general. It's a thing that I recommend like law students take a look at every now and then because they have interesting new areas of the law that they talk about regularly. Well, apparently, in about 4 years, they're planning to completely overhaul and change how the bar exam works. So I'm one of the last handful of people who have to deal with the old-fashioned means of doing the multi-state bar exam. They're going to shift towards a system that, in their own words, focuses on testing the knowledge and skills that lawyers actually tend to use in practice rather than rote memorization.
Oh, what a fucking concept. Glad it took till 2020, 24 to do it.
Yeah. Like they're planning to like test you on things like client relationships and management, like how to do legal research, like can you competently do legal writing, which to be fair, I think that like the MPTs as like a subsection of the bar currently maybe tests some of that to a reasonable degree. But I honestly would have preferred if the whole exam was just those. So for people who don't know what the hell I'm talking about when I say MPTs, the bar exam, if you're taking the multi-state bar exam, is broken out into 3 main sections. So there's the MPTs, which is the multi-state, is it proficiency or practice? Son of a bitch, I have it somewhere.
On the spot, 50-50 chance.
It's multi-state performance test. Jesus, it was neither.
Never mind, you were wrong regardless.
Oh yeah, you know it. It doesn't make any sense they call it a performance test, because really what it is they give you fake statutes and a fact pattern, and they say, okay, apply the law to these facts, and you just write an essay based on like what they give you. And then you have the multi-state essay exam, which you can see why I'd get confused there, which is 6 shorter essays that you write where you don't get any of the law in front of you. You just have to have the law memorized and do the best you can to write down reasonable rule statements or make them up, as I did in several cases, and a lot of people I know did.
Hold on. Can I clarify something? Is this writing essays on theoretical laws and not actual laws?
It's on real
Some
laws.
of it.
For the MPTs, it's on fake law. It's on a law like is usually modeled off of laws that do exist, so that it's not like completely divorced from reality, but like aren't real laws.
Okay, so it's like the idea of law and how it applies go. Write this essay. That's okay. All right. I guess that makes more sense.
We give you the rule statement, like we give you the rule of like when this occurs, a court must do X. And then we give you a fact pattern. We're buried in there somewhere. That thing is questionable whether or not it has occurred. Now argue whether or not it has occurred, and then say what the final conclusion is. It's that kind of thing. Whereas the essays, you don't have a rule written down for you. You just kind of like have to remember what it might be on the topic of anything ranging from family law to like land sale contracts to trusts and estates.
Have there been
literally anything?
Have there been any questions of like goofy fake laws? And they're like, all right, so when a clown wears his clown suit on Wednesdays, he has to give the children ice cream the next day. Now here's the rule statement. Write me an essay about why this clown is going to jail.
No, nothing like that, unfortunately.
Damn it. Ramon's better at these when he comes up with them on the fly. I just could see some wacky shit coming out of that, but there's it's law and a standardized test, so people would complain.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, listen, just come on, you hear the laws, write an essay about how they apply.
But yeah, apparently they're going to get rid of all of those sections and focus so specifically, they're going to completely revamp it to exclude family law, estates and trusts, the Uniform Commercial Code, and conflicts of law, all of which are incredibly complex areas of law that people often don't use in their practice. Other than conflicts of law, that comes up a lot for litigation people, but I mean, it varies. But they're going to completely remove those and make it focus a lot more on other areas of law that I feel like, if anything, we were better trained for in some cases, and is probably more important, which is, like I was saying earlier, things like how to counsel a client, how to like talk to people about things, how to do legal research and writing, how to negotiate for stuff.
So is it more generalized sort of topics of law then that they'll test on? Because I mean, in medicine, it's so wide and so broad. Sometimes the difficulty in terms of passing the test is, well, did you get lucky enough to get some stuff you know something about?
That's the current bar exam.
The classic 6 subjects that they typically ask questions about are contracts, torts, civ pro, criminal law, crim pro. And what's the other one? Help me out.
Con law.
Con law. Yeah, well, I just that all gets bottled up into everything, but yeah, con law too. So those are the 6 primary, and then the multi-guests are typically zeroed in on those things, and then the essays can be broader depending on the state and what areas of law they tend to cover. So
I see. So you're just too late, Alex. You were born and well, you actually had a long route. You just didn't make it long enough to actually get to Easy Street, apparently.
Too early. Yeah.
Well, the same shit happened to me. I can't remember if it was my year or Nicole's, because she's 2 years after me. Right, it was literally the year after one of us finished our, I think it was just step 1. I think I'm mixing this up. I was going to say the MCAT, but I'm pretty sure it was step 1. They changed it from a scoring system to pass-fail. Which, if you know anything about step one and the culture of medicine and how cutthroat it is, that would have been amazing any number of years ago. But now it's pass fail, and either me or her or one of us missed out on it by 1 year, just like you're saying.
Oh.
Man, we're just getting screwed left and right.
Oh, I've got another one if you want another screwed
Oh,
over.
no, I want to hear who screwed you. Go.
Oh. So I don't know if any of you heard about this, but during COVID, the first semester that happened and blew up our lives at the law school, as well as obviously everybody else's lives, basically almost all of like the big schools, almost all the big law schools in the country decided unilaterally that they were kind of just all going to agree to just do pass-fail grades for that semester.
Oh, well, shit. Damn.
Mine was one of the only like decent-sized schools in the country that decided they did something that the students complained about to no end for the most part. I was mostly fine with it, but like there was like riots in the school about it. Like people were fucking going crazy about it.
Oh, geez.
They decided that you can either elect to go pass-fail or try for grades.
Oh, why would you make that an option?
Yeah. I mean, an excellent
terrible.
question. And especially if you're like, oh, I've got a 4.0 right now. I'm super set. I did well in all my classes last semester. I'm going to take pass fail and then just slack off for this semester, and I'm going to keep my 4.0 for jobs for next year.
Yeah. So who's the person electing for grades in that situation?
People who think that they can do better this semester than they did before. And keep in mind that if enough other people are doing pass-fail, grades are on a curve. So if those people just don't give a fuck, it skews the curve on down, and everybody who decides to go for grades ends up doing a little bit better. So it inflates the GPA overall.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
Yeah.
So it's just, again, cutthroat culture that just doesn't need to exist. God,
Yeah.
we're on the same team, guys, I swear. I don't know, maybe we're not. That sucks.
Yeah. It was fine. It was something more so like other people were really pissed about, but like, yeah, it was. Life goes on.
So did you pick grades or pass fail?
I picked grades, and I got almost the exact same grades that I got the semester before.
Ah.
Kind of exactly what I deserved, really. So
I guess that's karma in and of itself. You're like, I'm going to do better.
And then it's the same as if I had taken pass-fail, just with more stress.
Oh, that's funny. I'm just so happy that grades and tests, for the most part, I have to recert every 10 years, which is bullshit. I know I've talked about this. The other how we get screwed, and I can't remember what the topic of the episode, I talked about this before, is that recertification exams, licensing fees, all of these things are nothing but extortion. They are extortion. You need to pay us for this test. If you fail, you need to take it again. And by the way, pay us again. And then you pass the test, and then you need to buy this license that you can't live without or do the job you want, or you'll be practicing illegally. And then we'll come and arrest you. And that's what we have to do because this is a system we made, and we're not in, your field. God, it just boils my blood.
My dad, when he was doing the last recertification that he did for his boards, he used to do sleep medicine.
Yeah.
He practiced primarily on like adults, like almost entirely on adults. He was primarily looking like doing sleep studies and seeing if people needed CPAP, continuous positive air pressure, to help them deal with sleep apnea and other things. He was complaining about the certifications as well, because it's very clear from what he was describing that the board's tests are kind of like shared to some degree with like the testing services, like the services that train you to do it.
Yeah.
Because he got a bunch of practice questions and a bunch of review on the topic of childhood bedwetting that year. And lo and behold, on his exam, a significant portion of his questions were on childhood bedwetting. And he would never have possibly known that unless he had taken the test course.
That is
concerning.
Crap.
That is concerning.
It's a scam.
Yeah, that's what it boils down to. It's just money grabs left and right, and these collusions that happen that are for some reason okay. They're not, but they are. Anyways, all right. I need to stop being so mad at things. I woke up too early.
am so glad I don't have to deal with any massive tests like you people do. I could not commit to studying for a test for, weeks to months. It just, I guess I kind of have. I took the GRE, but
yeah, GRE is test light compared to most of the certification exams.
Yeah,
big time.
But like, I get what you mean. I will say, like, I'm a good test taker. I'm a good studier. I've just made myself that way and kind of turned out that way. But I totally get that there are people that aren't. Like Nicole's definitely not the person who does well on tests. She gets super anxious and hates testing. And so
Maria's the same way.
yeah, she gets in her head a lot. And even though she knows she's smarter than I am, I mean, I have no idea why she constantly does well in these things, but is always super, super in her own head about it. Which I get. Like, testing's kind of intimidating and scary when you talk about all these boundaries and all these like financial barriers. Like, oh, if you fail this test, you got to do it again, and that's another $500 you just set on fire because you were too dumb. I hate that.
Only $500.
I mean, that's just no. I'm wrong. I'm wrong. That's the DEA license fee. Damn it! No, you're right. It's like $1,200.
Yeah, that's
God, you've got to be rich to be a doctor or just take on a lot of debt. It's not fair. All right, somebody else talk. I'm just getting mad.
Oh, wait, what? Getting more screwed over by schooling? I can do that.
Ben, what's going on, man? You okay?
Coming out of high school, I was one of those, like, didn't have to study for tests, that kind of stuff. Got A's. Yeah, college, that doesn't work.
Right.
And so my first several years in college were barely skating by. And then when I finally did figure things out, I have had such a big hole to dig myself out of GPA-wise, and just so many random courses I didn't actually need that I didn't do well in. By the way, there was a change in major in there, too. Like, I couldn't have possibly gotten a better GPA than, like, 2.5. No. Yeah, 2.5. 2.51. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, it was low. But then, like, keeping in mind that I did another year of schooling after I got my bachelor's, just get back into that stuff, because I was thinking maybe grad school. Got, like, 3.8, 3.9.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then I recently applied for a grad school program. All they said was, usually people have a GPA of this when they apply in the denial letter. And I'm like, okay, so you're not taking into account, like, they're like, we look at the second half or your latter half of your college. I'm like, how does this work when I have many, many more semesters of college than most people do? And I never got a straight answer.
Yeah, I was going to say, so they didn't look at, like, did they look at you as a cumulative, or did they look at you in terms of your improvement?
Apparently not in terms of my improvement, because I tried to get any of, like, it was like pulling teeth with this person I was talking to about, like, getting answers. I'm like, hey, I was just wondering how it was calculated, what part of my Purdue GPA was being put into this, because, my study habits have changed drastically over the last decade of this schooling stuff you're looking at. And all she was like is, oh, your Purdue GPA was this. I'm like, yes, thank you. I can, in fact, read the thing I sent you.
I was there.
Are you sure, Ben? The GPA was pretty low. Maybe they just assumed you can't read.
Oh, fuck. Ow.
God. Oh, sorry. That was too vicious. That was really mean. I'm sorry.
Going right for the throat.
Because of this, it's like this vicious cycle of, like, well, I also never had an internship. They're still going off of my GPA when you apply for, any sort of jobs or anything, which, just fun note for anybody who's in college or what have you, if they don't require you put the GPA on your resume, don't put it on there.
Fair.
Especially if it's not one you're proud of.
So you're getting screwed over by the sense that your grades from a decade ago are still following you.
Yep, sure are.
Well, that's kind of shit because like people improve and people make progress and people study and you've obviously taken more years of education and done well in those years. Why would they not look at that?
Also, I've done courses that like 2 different programming courses online. It's not that I've stopped learning, but you can't really show them that. And they're like, "Oh, you can give us 2 letters of recommendation and your resume if you want to object this." I'm like, "Why should I? Can I just like talk to somebody?" Not by
somebody
email.
else can vouch for you, but not you.
Yeah.
Have you seen your GPA? You can't talk for you.
Maybe they think I can't speak English.
Alex, you're bad influence, man. You're making me mean.
I guess the bar has just turned me into a bastard. I mean, maybe that's why all the lawyers that are dicks.
This is all just the bitter episode. We're all just angry and bitching is cathartic. So at this point, so it sounds like you need to do internships and put yourself out there is really what.
Oh yeah, and in the better thing, there's a person who does career counseling specifically for space industry stuff who I'm talking to this coming week. So
all right, good man.
That's a good thing.
Well,
but
we'll look forward to see what's to come from that.
I can add in more being mad at the system. This pissed me off.
Ooh.
So, I said I did a year at ASU fairly recently. Well, I guess just pre-COVID. And
what a concept.
I have a bachelor's in aerospace engineering. They would not let me take a class because my grades in calculus were too low, more than 7 years prior. And I went, hold on, all the calculus that I've needed, I used in graduate level classes that even by your definition, I very easily, I passed. Oh, but your grades in calculus. Okay, I want to take this sophomore level engineering class that requires calculus. And you're saying that you don't have any, I can't take this. No. So I went and talked to the professor who was teaching it. I'm like, oh, hey, this is what's going on. He goes, oh, yeah, that seems fine. Gives me a signed letter saying, yeah, you can, they can take my class. And the person in, I'm not even going to say which, it was in one of the engineering schools, the advisor went, he wasn't supposed to do that.
He was that professor's the fucking gall of that professor.
So I'm like, can I take this class? Like, can I just sit in on the class? I just want to learn this, and you are getting in you in a educational institution are getting in my way of learning something. And I have a pretty good handle of what I can and can't take on. And you're just telling me I can't for no good reason other than, well, no, you can't. Because...
So your calculus grade from when you were, what, I'm guessing 18, your freshman year of college, is stopping you from taking a sophomore level engineering class 12 years later?
And I have a bachelor's degree in engineering already. Yes.
Oh, man. I'll never understand some of the arbitrary walls that are put up. Like, I get those, like, access problems, and, like, certain people need to take certain classes, and maybe there's class size limits and problems like that. But you got express permission from the professor. Right. I don't know who else you could talk to. What do you got to
go to? But Dan, I don't think you understand. Who knows better about the capabilities of a student to know the topic of a particular class adequately to take it? The professor who's teaching the class, or some person in administration?
The academic advisor?
Administration, of course.
Obviously, yeah. They know better.
So the larger the institution, the more stupidity, in my opinion.
The more levels of bureaucracy, and therefore the more levels
stupidity. You said it. I just said it. You didn't have to go into red tape or bureaucracy. It's stupidity. Waste of time. You should go to a small college, take the class.
Yeah, take a calc or the level class that you're looking for, unless you really like the professor.
No, that was just, I was like, because I had all the prereqs, I was basically just doing 2 different majors classes at the same time, because I'm like, these are all really interesting. And then I just got hard-walled like continuing to take this major's course. It was for computer engineering because they're just like, nope, calculus. And I'm like, I'm not retaking calculus because you said that I have to. Like, it's a really dumb hill to die on, but man, I was furious.
That's an episode I want to do. Hills will die on. That'll be a good one.
Dumb
Alex,
hills
said,
will die on.
Jesus.
Dumb hills.
You don't want to include me on that one. I've died on a number of them already.
Died so many times. We're still speaking to a ghost.
Yeah,
Alex,
yeah.
you actually said something that was kind of topical. That reminded me. You said, "Who would know better, the teacher?" What? What happened? What just happened?
Kind of topical. Anyways, keep going. Sorry.
You said, who would know better, the teacher or someone in administration? Well, have you read recently they're actually allowing teachers in certain states to teach without a teaching degree? Like, I can't remember which state it is. It's somewhere in the South, of course. But, like, veterans are allowed to teach now without a teaching degree. They just have to, like, shadow a educator for 12 hours, and then they're able to teach. And like, I get that the teaching shortage and the compensation for teachers is so appalling, rising inflation, everything. I don't know if the teachers are going to know more anymore, which is kind of scary.
Yeah.
I mean, I just feel for the field.
It's not like the teachers are allowed to, like, really do all that much outside of a fairly narrow box anyway, so it's almost like whoever they can get to do it at some point.
Yeah, well, I just hope that I just pay them more. Goddamn. I don't understand how a field that is considered so important, like universally, no one would ever say, "Oh, being a teacher is a dumb job."
They don't want normal people to be intelligent or educated. So yeah, that explains exactly our education system. There's no incentive on the part of our leaders to have smart people come out of education. So they, in concert with these teachers unions that don't seem to be doing a damn thing but for getting their teachers adequately compensated. So that's why you have a teacher shortage. Period. Amen. Crappy working conditions, low pay. I mean, they're better off going and working in a factory, to be honest.
It's a thankless job.
It's not just thankless now. It's like it's like abuse.
Yeah.
So you have to parent kids that have never been parented on a day in, day out basis. And it's your fault if they don't succeed. Nobody is going to take any responsibility for that. Not an administrator, not a parent. It falls on the teachers. So yeah, our education system's effed, and it's effed on purpose, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they ever wanted to actually teach kids. A lot of it was just about, let's get the kids away from the parents so that the parents can go to work. That's what it's mostly about.
Exactly. They're indoctrinating these kids. They're not teaching them anything. I mean, whatever.
Well, Patrick, you've been quiet up till now.
Yeah, well,
Tell me.
you hit a chord when you start talking about education and teachers not being paid. I'm well aware, unfortunately.
Right. So, tell me a little bit about, other than apparently our education system screwing you over indirectly. Tell me what you got going on.
I think the first time I ever thought I got screwed in my entire life, I was 14 years old, and I just gotten back to my locker from football practice, and every personal belonging that I had been taken by one of my teammates. That was the first time in my life that I can remember having that feeling of being screwed.
Oh, shoot.
So then if you asked me, the most recent was a case that I had actually.
Well, back up. What was the resolution of that? Come on now, you can't. That's awful.
My parents took me out of school and sent me to a Catholic school.
Oh,
I never got any of my stuff back.
It?
Yeah, that was fucking Apollo. Yeah.
So, anyways, right.
No, I led with that one because it's the first time in my brain that I can say, where is a point in my life where I felt like I got screwed? And that's the first one that I can think of. And then that way I can pick one, because in the continuum of your life, ladies and gentlemen, you have that feeling thousands of times in various different ways and in various different degrees. And the most recent one for me was a court thing. I have a client who is clearly not competent to stand trial. He suffered a traumatic brain injury.
Oh,
and
I see. I deal with these a lot.
This is all a matter of public record. Anything I share here is not attorney-client privilege. But I think someone who knows my caseload could identify what I'm talking about. And the judge and the prosecutor could identify what I'm talking about, but nobody else could. So anyways, I made the motion, and those are pretty delicate motions to make. You pretty much in your affidavit put as little information as possible, but to enough for the judge to order the examination. Well, the first medical professional did the exam, found my client incompetent, did testing, and some of the testing on executive functioning and higher level brain function. The testing results were in the 0.2 and 0.1 percentile, folks.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. 0.2
God.
and 0.1. So
for those of us who are uninitiated, can you explain in a little more detail like how severe that is? Because like I have some notion of like
so let me put it in terms of the second examiner, and I'll circle back why the second examiner is important here shortly. The second examiner said that my client needs assistance with basic daily living skills from somebody else. That's how.
So they need a caretaker.
So if you want to put that in perspective, he needs somebody to take care of him. Now, can he walk, talk, and say yes and no and put certain sentences together? Yes. But he's asked me if I like fishing every single fucking time we've had court.
Oh, that's sad, but it's funny.
I know.
I feel bad laughing.
This is why when you look at your juvenile cases, you always want to consider whether your clients are competent or not. So the TBI occurred as a result of the accident that occurred that resulted in this criminal charge. And just to give you a little bit of clarity, and this is how fucked up the criminal justice system is versus civil law. So my client recovers insurance proceeds from the opposing party. Okay, but let me repeat that one more time. So my client recovers money from the opposing car driver's insurance. However, he is the one charged with the crime.
Wait.
Yes, I know it's hard to understand, but it's comparative fault. Comparative fault in the civil system. There's no such thing in the criminal justice context.
Really?
Whoever the state patrol determined was at fault for the accident is the one who got charged with this crime. And this is not an insubstantial crime. It's a felony that would go to the client would go to prison on. Okay. So we get the first examination that has those test results, and the state decides to challenge the examiner's determination.
Why?
Because of the seriousness of the offense.
Okay.
Because there's someone who did not survive this accident. So, with that being said, the original examiner was excellent in testimony, did a great job testifying, was his opinion undisputed, and so the judge, who is also a former prosecutor from the same county, decides that he's going to, on his own, order a second examiner. Now, the state, prior to this contested hearing, said that they did not want a second examiner. But the court decided, well, this is a serious enough offense, we're going to get another one. So I filed a motion.
Is the judge normally allowed to, like, sua sponte just do that?
No.
Yeah, that seems like you could appeal that.
Trust me, I got the order 2 days before I was supposed to go on vacation, man. I was absolutely livid. So, and he knows, and all the judges know when I'm going on vacation. So he put the timetable for my client to appear for the second examination in less than 48 hours from the time we got the order. So I sent the judge an email and the court admin and the prosecutor, and I said, my client's not showing up to this. I have no idea this is an unlawful order. There's no authority for the court to sua sponte after a hearing order a second examiner. At the beginning or the outset of the process, it says a party or the judge can request the examination. After that, You have this hearing, evidence is taken. The court, based on that evidence, must make a finding. And he did. But he said, wait a second, this is far too serious for us not to get a second opinion. Well, the second opinion came out worse than the first opinion, as far as my client's competence is concerned. But I know, because I'm dealing with two prosecutors, the one on the bench and the one at counsel table, that I'll probably get dragged into another hearing on this again. And hopefully my client doesn't get screwed again, but we'll see.
I like that this. I like this. So I know that you feel dead inside sometimes, Pat. I can hear it in your voice.
Yeah, I know.
But I love the amount of empathy that you demonstrated right now, because you said this story is how I got screwed, and you said how your client got screwed. Like, you identify you and your client as getting screwed over together by this.
Oh, absolutely. I do.
Granted, it's incredibly inconvenient for you, but like, it's your clients that's, ass on the line. And
the reason it pisses me off so much, Dan, the reason it upsets me so much, and these are the things that get me away from the oh my God, I'm doing this again kind of feeling, is when people who cannot stand up for themselves, that are powerless against the system or against an opposing, typically, mother who sees their children as chattel. In those situations, I get angry and I get upset. And I put myself exactly in my client's shoes. And I don't know that I can think of myself as that lacking in intelligence. I have too much of an ego. But I think I can put myself in prison with very large individuals and not know what to do. And if I can't remember what my instructions are for every single day because I'm so lacking in intellect, then I'm not just going to have problems with, I'm not going to just have problems with my fellow inmates. I'm going to have problems with guards, and everybody's going to think that I'm just doing this on purpose when I'm just shy of being a veggie. So,
Jesus.
So
God,
that's what
harsh but true. It's vulnerable. They're vulnerable population.
Vulnerable people are the ones where I see that, where people are powerless, and I get super upset when the system absolutely unequivocally fails those people, and it's happening more and more.
I don't get why this judge went out of his way to do this too,
because he's a prosecutor and he's got a view of psychology as kind of this mumbo jumbo. And, he thinks that
it's not even psychology. It's neuropsychology. It's neurology. He has a brain injury. So let me give a little insight into this, because Alex, you asked about the cognitive testing and what it's done and what it means, I guess, is to give you some context. Like, we use impact testing, and you don't have to say what testing you're using. There's other testing like Cobalt and whatever for management and return to play and all these various things. But basically, if you give a test to someone, there's the upper and lower, boundaries of essentially a couple standard deviations of where the population lands. They're memory tests, they're like hand-eye coordination tests, they're, basically cognitive processing tests, and they're all done on a computer is how we do them. And so as like a video game player, I scored really, really, really well on our memory and like the hand-eye, like 85th to 90th percentile, which my mentor was like, wow, damn. You're an idiot. How did you do so well? I play video games. So, but 50 percentile, you got to think like, okay, that sounds bad, but that's the average person. And so you go 2 standard deviations below, and it's considered like anybody who scores less than 10%, unless you have a baseline test before that, which like all the high school students get, like all high schools that have access to impact testing get impact tested before their season. So if they get a concussion or they have a suspicious, symptoms or findings for a concussion, they can say, okay, let's see cognitively where you're at and get some objective data. I've only ever seen one test that was like across the board 1s and 2%. Even people who are actively trying to fail it, like on purpose for secondary gain and those types of things, they still score in like the 4th or 5th percentile. So if you're telling me this poor individual is scoring in the 0.2 or 0.02. I don't remember what you said, Pat.
0.1 and 0.2 percentile. Yeah.
That's like.
So my exact question to the way that the prosecutor was going at it was, well, you said he had a rudimentary understanding of the judicial process. And he said, no. I said, less than rudimentary understanding of the judicial process. But he has some understanding of the consequences, right and wrong, what he's charged with. Yep. So then once the prosecutor's done with all that, I go, you did some testing, testing of my client, right? He's like, yes. I said, there's a couple of these tests where these scores are pretty low. And the doctor says, very low. And I said, 0.1 percentile. Does it get any? And this is my question. Does it get any lower than that? And he looks, he's about ready to laugh at me. And I'm obviously being intentionally obtuse.
Right.
And he says, no, it gets no lower than that. That is the lowest possible score you can get.
Jeez.
And is there any way that he was like trying to pull the wool over your? He's like, absolutely not. This test took way longer than it normally takes people to complete this. In my experience, this was the longest testing procedure in this type of a case that I've ever conducted. And this guy's doing competency exams on kids too. So there are children that are being tested in the same fashion to see whether they should be in the juvenile justice system that are, one, getting this test done faster than my client, two, scoring way higher than him. So that's the way I think of it. Is he has got the cognitive skills of a low functioning child. And so, yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it's just, you know what it all boils down to? His dad was a horrible human being. His dad was in the justice system when he was younger. I mean, he's not a horrible human being now because I've interacted with him many times, but he was not very, very good when he was younger, got in a lot of trouble, has grown up and matured. But I'm pretty sure that the judge has had contact in multiple different ways with my client's father, in that
Isn't that a conflict of interest?
Yep. Yeah. And here's where I was going next. If this judge fucks around with this case anymore, I'm just going to look at him point blank and say, I think you have a conflict of interest here. I think your prior contact with my client's father and prior contact with him as my client as a defendant, probably not fit to continue on this case. And if he bucks me on it, I have the ability to file a motion that'll be heard by the chief judge. So
what's it called? Recusing yourself? Is that it?
Yeah, that's the correct term of art. Yes.
So why wasn't that done from the start?
I've done it before.
No, I mean, but why hasn't that happened? Why didn't he?
Because I asked my client, who I did not recognize at the time was incompetent, whether or not he has a problem with the judge continuing on the case.
I see.
And there's another judge. If I had asked him to recuse himself, there's another judge we could have gotten that would be worse than him, technically.
Oh, good.
In my mind.
As long as we have a worse backup, we're fine. God.
No.
Jesus. I didn't think it was going to get this bad. Damn.
No. And yeah, I think it's funny you say that, because I didn't realize it when I was explaining this, that it's really not me getting screwed. I mean, well, it really is my client that's getting screwed. And I filed a motion on that point, Alex, and it got denied on Tuesday, and we got the report later that same day. So I got to go on the record and tell the judge how terribly wrong he was and why he was wrong. And then have the prosecutor then attack me on the record repeatedly, saying things that were A, untruthful, and in the alternative, B, not in line with what the statute or the case law says. Ultimately, the result should be the same. He should be found incompetent. And like you said, if he doesn't, we're appealing. There's no question. I'm going to get what's called a discretionary appeal, and it will be granted.
Sounds like open and shut abuse of discretion.
Well, that's what I put in my motion. I said he abused his discretion in appointing a second examiner, because the procedure after the hearing is for the court to make the determination, and then for the prosecutor to pick like 3 or 4 different possibilities. You know, you could have the person committed as mentally ill or mentally ill and dangerous, and in this situation, that's not appropriate. He could have him try to do some rehabilitative work, which, you know, the best that this kid's going to learn is probably, you know, helping take care of himself on a daily basis, not anything that's going to bring him to cognition magically, snap of the fingers, for him to be competent again, or for the prosecutor to just dismiss it, which I know he's not going to. He's going to be a pain in the ass for the next 3 years once he's found incompetent, because that's how long they can leave a felony open for under the statute after a finding of incompetence.
Out of like medical curiosity, how long ago was his TBI?
The accident happened in I can't remember if it was late 2019 or early 2020. I couldn't tell you.
Years ago, yeah, he's not getting better.
No, he's not getting better.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well,
so that's I got screwed. I figured I'd go with something that was the most recent that I could remember, because I'm not kidding you. I mean,
well, this happened a week ago. This happened right before your vacation.
Yeah, it was it was very raw on my vacation until I heard back from the second examiner, who he left me a voicemail, and I'm not going to repeat what he said on that voicemail.
Well, how was your vacation, Pat? Did you have a good time?
Yeah, after I got that voicemail from that doctor, it was great.
Good.
Because I knew the second exam was coming back as him being found incompetent. But the reason that the judge picked this particular doctor was for the intended purpose to get a different result. 100% certain of that.
Oh, God, I project so hard because I would think, oh, you're a judge, you're a lawyer, you're supposed to do good. No. And I just think like, hey, that's what I do in my career.
No.
Sorry,
we're just not going to let this kid get away with this. That's the mindset.
Still naive. Anyways.
Yeah, I know.
Good. I'm glad you had a good vacation, Pat.
Yeah.
How was the Coke factory?
I like the Coke factory, actually.
Coca-Cola factory.
Not the cocaine factory, the Coca-Cola factory, right?
Oh, that would have been a really good vacation then.
I don't know. My heart would have probably exploded.
Well, anybody got any last bits? I think we're going to probably bring it to a close here soon.
I was just getting warmed up.
I know. That's why I need to stop you. Good God, man!
You know, Pat, if you've got this many stories from your career, you're really setting a precedent and a expectation for me.
I know that's the thing is I've represented people who are mentally ill and dangerous, psychopathy, all from those areas. I've represented parents in every possible custody or child protection matter, termination of parental rights. So if you want to be in positions or situations where the system is going to come on top of you with a ton of bricks and there's nobody that's really going to hold them back, yeah, I've done it. So,
and just remember, Alex, he didn't plan on going into family law. Just like law. You aren't. Like you aren't, Alex.
I think you got a better chance though. You've got a technical degree. You're going to get your patent bar passage, and write your ticket wherever.
There's enough places that want me that I can avoid it. I can avoid the family law.
Please avoid the family law. It's taking years off my life for sure.
I can hear it in your voice every time.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, but remember, he still got empathy. He recognized his client as recognize his client getting screwed as him getting screwed. I take that as a win.
I love that that's our bar for success. Our bar for success is you still have human empathy. I mean,
yeah, you're still human mostly. Yeah,
you're not a robot.
There's a sliver in there somewhere.
Wow.
All right, love you, brother.
You.
Well, with that,
apparently this episode was also us dunking on each other.
Was also what? You trailed off there.
Us dunking on each other.
Ben
stroked out in the mid-sentence.
This is the stroke.
Oh, God.
Oh, no, he's gone.
Am I back?
You're back.
Yeah, your stroke now. Over now.
What did you say?
Apparently, this is just dunking on each other, the episode.
Oh, yeah. That's.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You had a bad time, bitch.
Bitch. Sucks to suck. You and your GPA.
I wasn't trying to one-up you. It's just that I could one-up you 75,000 times over, I'm sure.
I'm not trying to win that. I don't know that anybody wants to win that. That sounds
No. Well, I mean, you're a public defender for 7 years. Be a public defender for 7 months.
Dude, I got out of primary care real fast for a reason. Because what you're describing just sounds like primary care in the law setting. And I was like, I'm going to specialize so I don't die. And that's pretty much what sounds like what Alex is doing.
I have a friend who is a public defender, and he loves being a lawyer. He's like, I have to leave this. This is making me hate law.
Yeah. Well, it didn't make me hate the law, but it did have a bit of self-loathing because after a while,
that's not good either.
You're surrounded by people who have done bad things, and most of your clients are good people who've made mistakes.
Yeah.
But then there's the about 4 or 5 cast of characters that regularly continue to roll in and out of the courtroom that take up most of your time and the court's time, and eventually you're just like, I can't represent these people anymore. I need to talk to normal humans. So
and now you're describing ER medicine with the same reoccurring cast.
Yes,
I hate to drag it back to the conversation in some ways, Pat, but I am curious whether you think that some amount of what's going on there is like the adversarial process just like taken to like a ridiculous degree that it shouldn't get to. Because like everybody's trying to like make every non-facile argument you can, like fight everything you can get.
Oh, hey, you know what? When this state it has a losing case or a losing argument, you should see how pathetic they are. You should see how dangerous it is that they can't lose. They don't lose. Well, we charged this case. We should be able to prove it. And it's just like, well,
that's not how the law is supposed to work.
Why don't you go do that? Yeah, no, you have this ideal in our society where it's, that these prosecutors are the arbiter of the decision-making process. Well, most times that's probably true, but not all the time. And once they charge that thing out, you watch how hard they cling to that, because they get together at these statewide county attorney meetings, and they compare their conviction rate percentiles.
Why is that a good thing?
It's not.
God, I would view competition in medicine the same way I would view law. Like, it's not about competition. It's not about being better. It's about having good outcomes and correct outcomes. Or I don't know. I'm projecting again. God damn it!
In the law, it's about winning, Dan. I mean, and especially 100%. When it comes to like the criminal side of things, like we just like, especially with prosecutors, like there's been a push in recent years to like try to get people to go into being prosecutors with the express idea that like, oh yeah, maybe we should, have and use more of our discretion to decide what cases not to press charges on and not to move forward on, and use a little bit more of that prosecutorial discretion and what I would also argue kind of common sense of like, we don't have the evidence.
We're 100 years. We're repeating our past failures all over again. That's just what we do, man.
Some of the judges, or not judges, some of the AGs and like district attorneys who've been put in various places have gotten like, I think there was one in California after Gavin Newsom's recall who got recalled because he was painted as not tough enough on crime because he was trying to do exactly that.
Yep.
Oh my God, that's that becomes a marketing tactic.
Yep.
That becomes a negative like political ad.
It's a bad thing in our system to be merciful.
You're soft on crime, you're gonna get voted out of office. So you have to be tough on crime, and
it's not about being soft. It's about doing the right thing.
No,
so I talked about this last time.
Doing the right thing is soft.
I gotta wrap up here soon. I don't like that our how we got screwed episode is like our longest by far. That's not a good thing. But I will say, last episode was gatekeeping, and I talked about how in medicine, like, you have to have, in the interview process and all the steps, there's always this, you got to have this passion to heal, you got to have this passion to do the right thing and to help people. Y'all motherfuckers in law school need that so much more than we do, because in medicine, you get paid well, but goddamn, the work is intense, and you have to actually help people. That mind shift needs to change. Oh, all right.
Well, so when you deal with nothing but people that, from your perspective, are the worst of our society, if that's where you're operating from, then you can dehumanize anyone, Dan.
Well, anyone can dehumanize anyone if they work hard enough.
No, but when you have that perspective as your job as well, look at what this person did. Look at this horrible thing that they did while they were drunk. So my client pissed in their sinks. I mean, he was severely impaired. Let's get him the help he needs and make sure that it doesn't happen again. Let's not, hang him from the closest yard arm,
Jesus. Yeah. Well, innocent until proven guilty, though. But that being said, God,
Dude,
you laughed so hard you cut out.
Anytime you see an article on Facebook from a local posting, okay, about someone being charged with a crime, go to the comments section and you tell me from those comments sections whether you believe that in this country people believe in innocent until proven guilty. It's quite the opposite.
Yeah, I know. That's depressing. Oh, well, on this comedy podcast, I think we need to wrap up.
Well, you're the comic relief, Dan. All the things you keep saying are like
doing my best.
The most naive things ever. It's like, we should be doing the right thing. Yay!
And then it makes you laugh harder, my soul. Oh, God. All right. Listeners, if you're still with us, if you're still okay, if you're not, get help. Thank you for tuning in. Hold on. I need a moment. All right. Thank you for listening. Thank you guys for being here. I think, Pat. Sorry, I still need a moment.
Hold on to hope, everybody.
Yeah,
what little there is.
Oh, we're going to get through this dystopian hellscape somehow.
Right after we have the Great Depression again. Yeah. Point 2.0.
The Great Depression.
Great Depression 2. Electric Boogaloo.
Ah, you beat me. God damn it, Alex. Stop having the same brain as me. Thank you, everyone.
Never.
I hope you're okay. I need it. Give it back.
Never.
If you don't already, follow, subscribe, like episodes, download. That's how you show support. That's how we're able to know what people like, what you want us, to do more of. Comment on the Facebook, follow along on the YouTube. If there's something you want to hear, topics you want to explore, leave comments, let us know. Appreciate you guys joining me and doing this. I do enjoy doing this. I still enjoy doing this. I just don't want Craigbot to malfunction anymore. And then
Who are you trying to convince with that desperate sounding? I do enjoy doing this. I do enjoy doing this.
Me.
I love what I do. Absolutely love it. I love it. There's no question. If I didn't, I would sound miserable. But I do love standing up for people that can't stand up for themselves. I love fighting against the state. It's what I was born to do.
I love fighting against insurance companies. I go to fucking war for my patients. I mean, that's the thing is I spend 40 minutes after work doing prior auths and doing all this nonsense. But at the end of the day, I at least walk home going okay, I made a difference in one person's life. At least I helped one person today. So I guess that's why I keep doing it, even though it's hard. Fuck, it's hard. It's harder than it should be. But thank you guys. Appreciate you listeners for tuning in. Join us next week for what'll be a funnier and more uplifting topic, I hope. And
so I won't be on the show. Bye.
I wasn't gonna say your words, not mine. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.